Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
America. What a great country we live in. Be thankful for all that we have in this blessed land, and like Kate Smith says every morning, God bless America. Here she comes to start off a new week. Kate Smith and that wonderful song. We'll be looking for a great big opportunity to have you with the Pledge of Allegiance in just a moment. Call in. Good morning. Oh, good morning on a brand new week, July 29th, Monday. And I'm Zeb Bell with Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of your safe driving tires. Stop in and see them today. Also, some of our great advertisers, including Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, I'm going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I've got a couple questions on America I want to make statements on when I get done.
Real fast.
Get out of your way.
All right, Jerry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. America, the land where you can't spank your baby, but you can kill it in the womb. Who are these insane people making laws like this? And, you know, I think there needs to be an investigation into the Democratic Party to see if anyone has ties to America. May the Lord bless you and your whole audience. I'll get out of the way.
All right, Jerry. Thank you so much. There really is one of our great friends of this program. I appreciate him. Thank you very much. Hey, it's time for the weather, and the weather brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hebron. Hello, Roger and the crew. They get there early in the morning at about 7 a.m. and have all the best of tools and equipment for you. They've got all the excavators, and they've got all the different tractors and all the mowers. You know what you better do is just give them a call. If you're not sure what you need, they can help, and they'll tell you right over the phone. Then zip right over there on the Burley-Paul Highway, K&R Rental, 678-3122, the number to call. And right now, here's Scotty with our weather.
I'm Scotty Cameron. Today looks like we're going to see some showers in the afternoon. Highs are going to be around 92, going to be a little bit muggy as well. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 59. Going to be hot tomorrow, expecting a high of 96, mostly clear for Tuesday night, lows of 57. Then for Wednesday, partly sunny, a high of 92. Thursday, highs around 88. And for Friday, sunny and 89. That's your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron.
Hey, he did a great job. Scotty, thank you very much. And, of course, the weather brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hebron on the Burley-Paul Highway. They get there early to serve you. Call them, 678-3122, K&R Rental. Holy cow, here we are in the last week of July already. Wheels over at the station, if you could bump the feed line to me just a little bit, just touch it a little bit higher, I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. We got a lot of great guests coming on the program this morning. Richard Manning, Gary Goldman back in Boston, Phil Kirpin, Vicky's going to be on, and then we're going to be talking to Greg Walden with the Minidoka County Fair. Right now, I want to remind you about Darrow's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Oh, they take care of all your clothes. I mean, you need dry cleaning, the best right there. You want to make sure that if you don't have time to wash your clothes, they will wash, dry, fold, and iron all your clothes, just like Mom used to do. All you got to do is stop in and say hello to Kevin and Cindy at Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Simply the best. Absolutely. Also, when I talk about the best, I want to talk a little bit about Ramsey Heating and Electric. Hello, everybody over at Ramsey's. You know, it's not brag, it's a fact. They have all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. Jared was here to do a little work for us the other day, and they are good at what they do. I'll tell you what. All you need to know is that they open the doors at 7:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday, and they're located at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Now, the number to call if you need their help, 678-0459. 678-0459. They've been in business serving you for over 6 decades. The best. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget, at about 8:30 this morning, we're going to be giving away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox, so be ready for that. In the news, another sick, perverted, absolutely words can't be found to discuss why there's so much evil in the world today. In Gilroy, California, at the Garlic Festival, I know this area, I know this town very well. A quiet, friendly place. A shooter cut into a fence to get inside the fest without paying and wreak his havoc, and killed 3 and injured 15. Why? Why? He was overheard screaming, "Because I'm angry." Police shot and killed the shooter. Good. But the lives that are going to be devastated, the surgeries and all the devastating happenings that are going to happen to families, hence from this moment, it's absolutely disgusting and so discouraging. And these people were at what's called a soft event, which means it's really hard to govern, legislate, and look over everyone to keep them all safe. Shouldn't have to. But this vermin cut a hole in the fence, came in and shot these people. And I do say, good that he was removed from the scene. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. It's a yummy man with the menu for the Burley Senior Center. Today we're having barbecued pork, mac and cheese, lettuce salad and fruit salad, and yummy dessert.
All right. Well, Joe, I want to tell you, we missed you last week. We were worried about you, and then we heard that you were on vacation over in Tahiti dancing with the girls on the beach.
Well, I spent one day on the beach up in Canada, but anyway, it was good to be back. We had a good time, but hamburgers were $12.50 to $15. So I'm glad to be back where I get a good meal.
All right.
Reasonable price at the Burley Senior Center.
Yeah, and it's only $5 at the Burley Senior Center, right there on Overland. Joe, God bless you. Thank you for your call. The Yummy Man. Have a great day. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
All right. Joe Taylor, good guy right there. Hey, I want to remind everybody about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Now, somebody called me and said, you weren't there last week when you were supposed to be. That's right, I wasn't. Do you ever have the week from heck. That was last week. Everything that I touched turned bad, or everything got turned around on my schedule and everything. I think I changed my schedule over there at least 3 times, and I couldn't make it. I'll be back, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. They are the best at helping you get back to being you. I urge you to call, make an appointment at 678-1191. They're located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. For all your aching and paining, recouping from surgery or an accident, Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists there to serve you. Please remember, and they got that hydrotherapy pool too, the only one of its kind in the area. So please call them today, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Quick note, last week, on Thursday, we had Lunch Bunch, and to all the Lunch Bunchers that were there, thank you, thank you, thank you. We had a lot of door prizes to give away, and I just want to say thanks to Denny's and Michelle and Thomas, the whole crew. Wonderful, wonderful people serving you with great meals, whether it's breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts, anytime, all the time at Denny's Restaurant. They're located at 611 North Overland in Burley, and they've got another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. You be sure and get a hold of them. Stop in and enjoy the food today at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What in the world is going on with Elijah Cummings and President Trump? Now, I will say this right up front. Elijah Cummings has been the biggest instigator of discord, one of the biggest innovators and instigators of discord against Donald Trump. But Elijah Cummings made a statement, and I'm going to be paraphrasing here a little bit. He made a statement about the border, had never been on the southern border. And Elijah Cummings, a representative, said, well, I'll tell you what, the children there are sitting in feces. That's not true. That is absolutely not true and a lie. Representative Democrat Elijah Cummings made it sound like it was a filthy, absolute cesspool on the border, and it's not. Of the people that I've talked to down there personally, they're doing everything they can to maintain absolutely a clean, very, very humane treatment of people on that border, any of the border locations. And President Trump had enough and said in a quote, in a tweet, Representative Elijah Cummings has been a brutal bully, shouting and screaming at the great men and women of Border Patrol about conditions at the southern border, when actually his Baltimore district is far worse and more dangerous. His district is considered the worst in the United States. And as proven last week during a congressional tour, the border is clean, efficient, and well-run, just very crowded. Cummings' district is a disgusting rat and rodent-infested mess. If he, talking about Cummings, spent more time in Baltimore, maybe he could help clean up this dangerous and filthy place. Now, the Democrats have been just coming out of the woodwork or crawling out from underneath wherever, rocks, garbage cans, whatever, and have been condemning President Trump as being racist in his remarks. Well, first of all, there was nothing racist said there whatsoever. Anybody that construes that racism played a part in those tweets is absolutely nuts. But Donald Trump spoke the truth, because of all the items that I checked into, including editorials that were in various papers back there, including the Baltimore Sun, and including other papers and other studies, that absolutely is true, that Baltimore is one of the worst cities in the United States for vermin infestation. It's in the top 10 worst. Oh, and by the way, every one of the top 10 worst, filthiest cities are controlled by liberal Democrats. This is absolutely ridiculous. And I was reading when President Trump criticized Cummings and claimed that Baltimore was rodent-infested, however, critics were quick to call his tweets offensive and, like I said, racist, arguing that he only used the term. This is the part that's so ridiculous. Listen to this carefully. The Democrats on the liberal left said that they argued that President Trump only used the term infested when he was speaking of black and brown people. That's not true. That is a blatant lie. That is a blatant lie. He was talking about the filthy conditions and the rat infestation in the city of Baltimore, along with it being a garbage dump. And I have pictures right here in front of me to show the absolutely filthy conditions that are going on in Baltimore, a city that is not being managed well at all, if at all. And yet everybody on the left is jumping on President Trump and blaming him for a racist comment that is absolutely true. Caller, I'm going to ask your indulgence. Just stay with me a minute. I want to thank everybody for Ark Animal Hospital. Oh, they do a wonderful, wonderful job. Hello, Dr. Bill and the crew over at Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street, near Connection Credit Union. Oh, my. They care about animals, whether they're big or small, whether you got a little bitty kitty cat or whether you've got a great big herd of dairy cattle or horses, whatever. They want your animals to stay healthy. Make sure you stay up on all your vaccinations. Make sure that if there's a problem, make sure that if all of a sudden something gets hurt, you are aware of the number to call, 678-1177. Ark Animal Hospital in Hayburn, where they do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, the Democratic Party ought to come out with a new slogan like, do as I do and do what I say. You have no other alternative.
Well, Keith, this is absolutely ridiculous what's happening in this country against this president. Pick up a Sunday paper of the Times News and go to what they call the fact check section, and they just hammer and tear and rip apart President Trump for anything and everything, laying the blame at him. I never saw any kind of news coverage at all when Obama was president.
No, and everything that happens becomes his fault, unless it's something that's really good, and then it's the Democrats that instigated it or whatever. You know, they'll take full credit then, but they won't give him one credence of what he's done.
Keith, let me ask you, have you toured any of the large cities on the East Coast, be it Washington, D.C., or whether it's Baltimore, or whether New York, whatever? Have you ever been there in the summertime?
Yes, we usually go in the fall so that we can see the fall colors. But New York and, like you say, Baltimore and places like that, I didn't go downtown. But I did have the privilege of going to Washington, D.C., courtesy of Chrysler Motor Company, to have a seminar put on. Mm-hmm. And that evening, because this whole hotel is right downtown in D.C., it's called the Loews Lafont Hotel. Very, very exclusive.
Yeah.
And we decided to go for a walk that evening when we had a break, and we went out and we walked over to the White House and the Lincoln Memorial and that, and just had a real good.
Well, my point is that in the summertime, if you go to these larger cities like New York, Baltimore, Newark, New Jersey, I don't care where it is, they stink. I don't know how else to put it. They stink. Some of these cities are poorly managed with their garbage control, and I'm looking at the pictures that I have proof, especially for Baltimore. And with all of this being said, there's unrest and uneasiness in these cities because city is not being managed correctly. Look at the city of Baltimore and all the problems they've had over the last decade with the riots and the burnings and the lootings. And, of course, they're again a democratically controlled city, and for what Trump said that it is rat infested and also garbage infested, it's absolutely the truth.
Yeah, and like I say, we went out and walked through that, and we didn't have a single incident. But when we come back, like we were talking to some folks, and they said, "You went out this time of the evening in Washington D.C.
Yeah.
Are you nuts?"
Yeah. I can attest to that. I know exactly what you're talking about because those of us that are strangers to those communities, we are sometimes very unaware of the safety and security needs that we need to take. Keith, I got to run, but I appreciate your call. Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right, sir. As a matter of fact, I want to wrap this up that in 2016, 3 years ago, the same newspaper that criticized Donald Trump, the Baltimore Sun, came out with a story about Baltimore being a rat-infested mess. Let me say that again, a rat-infested mess. But because President Trump said it, he gets blasted. Even Bernie Sanders, earlier in the campaign, way back in the beginning when he was running, said that Baltimore is absolutely a mess and needs to be cleaned up. Oh, but now politics comes in as we're drawing closer to the 2020 election, and like rats, they all team together and attack President Trump for stating the truth. Hey, guess what's going on starting today? The great big 71st annual Minidoka County Fair with the theme Making Tracks to the Minidoka County Fair. Tonight they've got the big lawnmower races at 6 p.m. Tomorrow night the Tiny Tot Gymkhana, and then music, and food. Oh, Wednesday the Big Lions barbecue. Thursday Junior Rodeo. Friday and Saturday the Wild West Open Rodeo. All of this at the 71st Annual Minidoka County Fair. Don't you miss it. And go to one of the friendliest, nicest fairs you'll ever go to. Great people serving you at the Minidoka County Fair. Really good folks. Also, real quick, I want to remind you about our friends at Rain for Rent. Hello, Jake and the crew over there. I'm telling you, for all your irrigation needs, look no further than this telephone number to give them a call. 438-5065. That number again, 438-5065. They're located at 134 South, 600 West of Paul. Rain for Rent. Jake Spalding and the whole crew with the Reinke Diamond Dealer, and also don't forget dedicated sales and service staff serving you. The best of people serving you with the best of irrigation needs, so you're going to hit a home run. Just give them a call, 438-5065, Rain for Rent in Paul. Time to give away some cookies. Yeah, buddy. And, of course, our cookies are from wonderful Sophie's Chatterbox. And Sophie's Chatterbox, located at 530 East Street on the Square in Rupert. Great bakery, great restaurant. You be sure and get a hold of them today. Stop in. You're going to love it. Sophie's Chatterbox in Rupert. Now, here's the question. It's an easy one. I figured this week we would have an easy question. Name 3 old Western cowboy stars that wore 2 pistols. Name 3 old Western cowboy stars that always wore twin 6 guns. Who are they? Give me 3. Give me three, and there's three real obvious ones. And the first person to call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587 is going to win the cookies. So quickly call me. Name three old Western cowboy stars that wore two pistols. Give me a call quickly, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a call. Quickly, give me a jingle. While I'm waiting for your call that I know is coming in, I also want to mention about our friends at Greystone. Oh, my goodness. This is a wonderful, wonderful location for seniors to be aware of. Call and find out more information about the opportunities for you to take up residence there. It is a wonderful place. They provide the meals. They provide housekeeping and snacks and local transportation. Wow. It's a community of your friends. A community of your friends at Greystone Crossing, Independent Senior Living on El Fresco Road. Absolutely just a mile east of Walmart. I urge you to call the number and talk to Kelly or Matt Wiggins at 650-4979. Absolutely make an appointment to see the great environment of Greystone Crossing, Independent Senior Living. And the number again, 650-4979. All right, once again, somebody better call in a hurry to win those cookies. Name three old Western cowboy stars that wore two pistols. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Are you and I the only ones that are listening?
No, that's not the way it is, but are you going to try to win the cookies?
Okay. Well, I'm going to win them for K-Bar Radio and Gina.
Oh.
They do such a good job.
Well, that's nice. Go ahead.
It was Hopalong Cassidy, Roy Rogers, and Gene Autry.
No.
Yes.
No. No, you're wrong.
Okay.
You've got one of those wrong, and I can't give them to you.
Well,
I feel bad, but no, one of those is not correct. And so I'm going to have to say thank you for your call and see if somebody else can win them.
let's do that.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call quickly and see if you can come up with the three old Western cowboy stars that wore two pistols all the time on their TV shows. Come on, somebody give me a call quickly. And while we're waiting, excuse me for the cough, the allergies have kind of taken over the resonance of my throat this morning. I want to remind you about Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts. My goodness, we had a gentleman on here the other day talking all about when you're doing a job, the lifting, the digging, the pushing, and the carrying. Don't forget they've got all the Doosan wheel loaders, excavators, and of course they got all the Bobcats. They've got everything you need to get the job done. And if you're not sure how to run the equipment, believe me, they'll teach you how right there at the location. Absolutely, Barry Equipment and Rental, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and the Nampa location. When you need a job done, they've got the equipment to get it done at Barry Equipment and Rental. I didn't think that was going to be that tough a question to win the cookies at Sophie's. Name three old Western cowboy stars that always wore two pistols. Come on, somebody. I'll give the cookies away if you'll just come up with the right answer at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Quickly, give me a call. I thought that was going to be one of the easiest ones we've asked for. In case you can't wait for all the excitement and the mind-boggling information, the second of the Democratic debate starts tomorrow night and goes again on Wednesday night. Should be riveting TV. Tisk, tisk. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
An old guy that wears a mask. The Lone Ranger.
No, I'm sorry, but you still have it wrong. Appreciate your call. Thank you.
Two guns.
Nope. No, I'm not going to say which one had two guns. I'm not going to give away the answer. But your answer, the way you gave it the first time, was not correct. So I can't give you the cookies, my friend. I can't do it.
Dang.
All right. Talk to you later. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Really easy. Really easy. Come on. For those of us that used to be Saturday morning gurus of watching the old Western TV shows, name 3 old Western cowboy stars that wore 2 pistols. And there were 3 that were very, very prominent. And then there were some that were less so. But I think it should be pretty easy. Think about all those pearl-handled guns worn by especially 3 cowboy stars. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, my goodness. Like I said, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, will be the second of the Democratic debates. And I think it's going to be kind of interesting in some respects to see how and who they're going to go after. Are they going to attack Joe Biden, the leader right now, percentage points in the Democratic Party, or are they going to attack Donald Trump and policies? And that's going to be a little tough, I think, on policies, to start picking and choosing about whether it's the economy. Not much to pick apart on the economy right now. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see where they're going to go on their attack and who is going to be the target. Once again, I'm shocked. Come on, callers. Name 3 old Western cowboy stars. I'm talking in the 50s and 60s that wore 2 pistols. That wore 2 pistols when they were on their TV shows. Quickly, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I thought that was a slam dunk. I thought sure I'd have the answer, bing, just like that, but I didn't. Quickly, give me a call. Let's see, Crickets from Idaho Power. I wanted to let you know that I'm not going to weaken on my comments regarding Idaho Power and their lack of respect for you and me. No response from Idaho Power shows me the arrogancy that they must possess over their people that pay the bills. They were asked, for those of you that are unaware, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, I asked Idaho Power to come on my program and talk about going to a total green energy program in approximately 20 years. And they said no. They said, no, we won't come on your program and answer any questions because you're too political. Those are the words that were used. The words too political, I'm not understanding at all, because we ask questions and we try to find answers. And if they've got something to hide, that's what they're doing by not coming on this program. Now, all customers of Idaho Power deserve to know what's being done, how it's going to be implemented, and how it is going to be paid for, and what the possible rate increases will be, and how secure, underline that word, their energy will be. But by not answering questions and basically turning their back on me, that's cowardice. That's all it is cowardice. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, I can tell you, Darrell Anderson is going to be very embarrassed when it comes out that this whole global warming thing is a hoax. And, they're in the tank for this thing. They've made this decision, and they're so prideful, it seems that if they won't come on your program, I think we just should flood their communications right on the bottom of your power bill, and that little insert, there's an address in there, and you can get the phone number as well. But I can guarantee you, there's no way I can see the days we have no wind. And in the wintertime, we only have 9 hours from sunrise to sunset. And those solar panels don't work very efficiently until the sun's up pretty high, especially in the winter. It's way, way down there. So putting solar in is worthless. This time of year, we have a lot of days there's no wind at all. I've seen that happen many times. So they have to have a, backup. But if they scrub and take out Fort Bridger, it'll be absolutely the most ridiculous thing they could possibly do.
Well, whoa, wait a minute, Adrian. Let me jump in. I can't have you filibuster, please. I agree with everything you said. I absolutely agree with everything you said, but by not answering questions that I would be asking not only on behalf of myself, but also on behalf of my audience, i.e. you and others, that shows me that they're either afraid to answer the questions, or they don't want to be pinned down to their answers, or they don't want to let the public know what's going on.
Well, I think they want to treat us like mushrooms, keep you in the dark and feed you horse manure, and that's what they're putting out with this green energy program. It's just a bunch of horse bucky. It's just there's just nothing to back it up. Do you realize how many acres of solar panels it would take to replace Fort Bridger? I mean, we're talking about square miles, 123, to put out the same energy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no way you're going to replace that energy with solar panels when the sun doesn't shine half the time. I mean, it's so ludicrous, and of course it's all based on the carbon dioxide poisoning our planet. That is the most ridiculous thing you could possibly think of. And I've used this analogy before. If you take the atmosphere as 100,000 feet football stadium, how many seats would be reserved for carbon dioxide? It's only 40, Zeb.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ludicrous to think that CO2 is killing our planet. Unbelievable.
I appreciate your call as always, because you are spot on with your information. Thank you very much, and I'm going to keep hammering at him. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Adrian. God bless.
One thing we got to remember, without CO2, our plants don't produce oxygen and food.
That's right.
Those are two things that we need on a pretty regular basis, like the next breath. It's so unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Get hold of Idaho Power and tell them to get off their horse and beat their pride and admit they're making a mistake.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well stated. Thank you very much. And I urge my listeners to call them and say, why? Why won't you answer questions about green energy? Why won't you answer questions about how much of a land mass it's going to take to replace Valmy and Fort Bridger? How much is it going to cost to replace all this with transitional costs to go green energy with solar and wind? How much? We need to know, and we need to have the answers. And also a simple question, why? We have a very efficient and very safeguarded energy program right now. But they won't come on the program because they're in power, and it's a do-as-I-tell-you attitude. I have never, in the 20-plus years of doing this talk show, been treated as rudely as I have been from Idaho Power. I have made calls, and they will not even the decency call me back. None. Nada. Time for the weather, and the weather brought to you by our friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they're located right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room, and boy, they just absolutely are ready to help you with your hearing health. Don't forget, when treating hearing loss, audiologists' understanding of the interaction between hearing and cognition play a crucial role in providing patients with a reliable reliable and effective solution. These people really know and understand hearing and can help you. Dr. Pickup, Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Hunsaker, all serving you at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Here's the number to call. Make an appointment, 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. And right now, here's Scotty with the weather.
I'm Scotty Cameron. Today looks like we're going to see some showers in the afternoon. Highs are going to be around 92, going to be a little bit muggy as well. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 59. Going to be hot tomorrow, expecting a high of 96, mostly clear for Tuesday night, lows of 57. Then for Wednesday, partly sunny, a high of 92. Thursday, highs around 88. And for Friday, sunny and 89. That's your Zeb at the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron.
Scotty does a great job. Thank you. Filling in today for Gina, and thank you very much, and brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. You betcha. Number to call, write this down, please. Make an appointment. They can and they will help you. 312-0957. I am shocked that we didn't have a winner for our cookies. And, boy, you're talking about delicious cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox. I guess I'll just have to eat them myself. No. But I urge you, I'll give you one more try. I've got about 2 minutes I can give to possibly getting an answer. Name 3. I don't understand what the problem is with this question. Name 3 old Western cowboy stars that wore 2 pistols. Name 3. And Keith thought he had it, but one of the answers was not right. And so anyway, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What are we? We forgot all about the old days, the Saturday morning shoot-em-ups and everything else? Give me a call, 436-2244. Let's see what else we got. The Supreme Court okays border wall funding. This is a big, big plus for the Trump administration. And, quite frankly, a big, big plus for you and I for more border security. And he has done, meaning President Trump, an outstanding job of, even with all the harangue and the harassment and everything else from the Democrats, he's done an outstanding job in working for our border security. And a lot of people don't realize this. He has done an outstanding job working with other countries in negotiations to get them to understand we are not going to be the sponge for everybody coming in here. And those countries, i.e. Guatemala and others, had better start cleaning up their act. And the point is getting through. And I honestly believe that if President Trump is elected for another 4-year period, we are going to see a complete control of our border system. Long overdue. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. I don't know if you caught this or not, but it was extremely unprofessional. And I've heard of this happening maybe way back in the 60s or so, but I've never heard of it happening in recent days in Major League Baseball. Pitcher absolutely was having a horrendous inning. Trevor Bauer for the Cleveland Indians. Terrible inning. Home runs. It was raining baseballs all over the park. And Terry Francona, the manager, called timeout and was headed to the mound to replace him. And Trevor Bauer turned around on the mound and reared back and let the ball go over the center field fence. Disgusting display of temper, of which he said afterwards it was childish. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. And you could tell by the look on Terry Francona's face that I'll see you in the manager's office after the game. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hop along Cassidy, Roy Rogers, and Cisco Kid.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it to you. Those weren't the three I was really thinking about, but I'll tell you what, you're right on the money with Hoppy and the Lone Ranger. The Cisco Kid, I question. I didn't think he wore two. I thought he only wore one. But I'm thinking about that right now. Cisco Kid was not on my little sheet here. I'm not sure, but I tell you what I'm going to do. If it was the Cisco Kid, and I don't think it was, I'm going to go ahead and give you the cookies because I'm at a lack of time right now. What's your name?
Dale Anderson.
Dale Anderson. Or Dell. Dell.
Dale, yeah.
Okay, Dell Anderson.
You know me.
Okay, well, I tell you what, Dell, I'm going to go ahead and let you have the cookies. But now, if it's not, I'm going to go ahead and call Keith Cottom, and I'm going to tell him that I'm also going to buy him some cookies. Gene Autry only wore one pistol. It was a Colt 44. Now, here's the three that come to mind that are the most obvious. Roy Rogers, the Lone Ranger, and Hopalong Cassidy.
Well, I was thinking maybe Lasher LaRue, too, but I don't know about him.
Now, he had a whip over the left side tied to his belt, but
That's right.
anyway, Dell, thank you for your call. Tell them that you're coming over to get your cookies, all right?
All right.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
I'm not so sure the Cisco Kid did. Now, there you go. I'm digging back into the memory bank. Now, somebody can call and say, well, you should know that he didn't. I don't think he did. Pancho only wore one as sidekick, and I think the Cisco Kid only wore one, but I'm going to go ahead and let Dell have the cookies, and then I'm also going to buy some cookies for Keith, but Gene Autry, a lot of people confused, did not wear two pistols, only wore one. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget, holy smokes, if they got some great things going on at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires. Don't forget, they've even got some of the tires like the Backcountry MT, the Backcountry AT, and the Road Control tire with rebates. Woo! Save money, get in there, drive safely. And, of course, they've got the best in brake service and front-end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. But there again, service takes over and reigns supreme. That's the number one word I want to leave with you when you talk about your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There was a letter in the paper, and I'm going to jump in and say something about it here real quick. It was written by a guy that used to write for the Times News, Stephen Popino. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name. Popino, I'm not sure. And he was condemning some of my friends. And when there's a condemnation of my friends and people that have done, I think, really a good job in serving others, I'm going to stand up for them. And I know my partisan politics is going to come into play here, but so be it. There was a letter by Popino that basically was running down not just the Republican leadership, but also in particular a very dear friend of mine that has always been there to help me with information, etc., and that's Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke. And I took offense at this letter because we have got locally some excellent leadership in our state of Idaho, whether it's State Senator Kelly Anthon, or whether it's Representative Fred Wood, or whether it's Speaker of the House, Representative Scott Bedke. The list goes on. Lori Likely and Clark Kaufman. The list goes on and on and on. We have excellent people serving the state of Idaho. And some of the assertions and some of the innuendos are offensive. And when someone attacks them, and I know it's not true, that they show a lack of respect to the constituency here in the state of Idaho. That's not true. Not true at all. I've never known that. I've never heard that, and I'm going to stand up for them. Because we have some excellent people representing us here in the Gem State. And I, for one, unless proven differently, am going to stand up and say they're really good folks. We're going to take a little break and send it over to Wheels, and we're going to be back in about 7 minutes with more. Now, here's what's coming up. We got Richard Manning coming up at 9:06. Gary Goldman from Boston back on the program at 9:30. Phil Kirpin's going to be talking about one-size-fits-all health care at 10:06, and then Vicky's Country Gardens coming up at 10:30, and then Greg Walden with the Minidoka County Fair. Woo, we got a busy, busy morning. Stay tuned. Zeb at the Ranch will be right back. And a good morning to you on a Monday, July 29th. I can't even believe it. Summer's gone. It's over. Anyway, the last week of July this week on Zeb at the Ranch. And, of course, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of safe driving tires. And, of course, our thanks go out to some of our great advertisers, too, like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, Wheels, this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Oh, thank you very much, Western Waste. And by the way, I had a call last week. They said, well, how do we get on that route service so they can pick up our garbage right at our driveway? And I said, it's easy. All you have to do is call them at 734-6969. That number again, 734-6969. Always at your disposal. Call the best. Western Waste Services, once again, 734-6969. Today, the great big Minidoka County Fair starts, and I'll tell you what, they've got some businesses over there that are pretty high on their county fair, including Magic Valley Carpet at 613 D Street in Rupert. Oh my goodness, they've got all your flooring needs, carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminates, installation guaranteed with over 35 years of experience. They wish you a great time at the Minidoka County Fair and Rodeo, Magic Valley Carpet. And along with Scows at 323 East 8th Street in Rupert, only locally owned and operated auto parts store in the Mini-Cassia area. And let me tell you something, every customer, their motto is every detail matters. They really take care of the people that come in to see them. 70 years of serving local communities, Scows in Rupert. Thank you very much. We're going to have Richard Manning on the line with us in just a moment. I also want to acknowledge the fact that Hanson Mortuary, really, really good people serving you. They care. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, his family, and his staff. They really care and really work hard to provide the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort, and always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. I urge you to call. Find out more. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Right now, I just absolutely can't say enough about the integrity, the honesty, and the straightforwardness of this gentleman that's been on our program for quite some time on Mondays. And I urge you to put down whatever you're doing and listen to him because he knows of what he speaks. Good morning to the President of Americans for Limited Government, Mr. Richard Manning. How are you?
Hey, Zeb, how are you doing?
I am wonderful, thank you. And we've got a ton of things to discuss this morning. And you, of all people, living back on the East Coast, can give an honest appraisal. What is it with Congressman Elijah Cummings and President Trump and Baltimore and other cities on the East Coast? They are not the cleanest havens of people to enjoy a great environment, but Baltimore especially is a filthy town and ranked in the top 10 in the nation for not being clean. What's the tiff back there? Tell us about it.
Well, I have to tell you, one of the things that really upsets me about all this is that the president never made a statement that was in any way reflecting on the racial character or anything like that about Baltimore.
That's right.
It was about the fact that the town is, by its own admission, by its own mayor's admission, rat infested. That it has, and that Elijah Cummings' district is falling into disrepair in such ways that it resembles a third world country, and that is unacceptable in America. And so while Elijah Cummings is busy, playing politics in Washington D.C., his district is suffering, and quite honestly, the Baltimore city government is failing. They've had three mayors who ended up going out. The last three mayors who had to leave because of corruption charges. And it is a failing city. And for the president to point out that fact is just a fact. And it has no racial means whatsoever. And the people who supposedly care about those who are the poorest on the Democratic side, who always claim that they care, want to make it into a racial issue rather than looking at the facts and saying, you know what? We've got to do something. We've got to do better. I mean, the policies which we're implementing are disasters. They can't even get their trash picked up. They've got we don't accept human beings being abandoned by their local government in such a way that if they want to get their trash picked up, they have to pay for it themselves. They want to get, even though it's supposed to be community trash pickup, they have to, essentially, even water is something they can't take for granted because of some things that are happening in the infrastructure in the city. So it's this flawed condition, and Elijah Cummings, like a lot of politicians, should be looking on what they can do to try to improve the conditions back home, rather than spending all their time playing around trying to figure out if Ivanka Trump has an email address, a separate email address. And it's just a simple fact. It's not racial. It's all about people living in horrible conditions. And in our country, we need to do better.
Rick, you've been on this program for a long time and a straight shooter, and I was reading further into this story about the rat-infested Baltimore and Elijah Cummings, and I came across this statement from the left, and I'm going to read it to you, and I want you to respond. When President Trump criticized Cummings and claimed that Baltimore was rodent-infested, however, critics were quick to call his tweets offensive and even racist, arguing that he, meaning Trump, only used the term infested when he was speaking of black and brown people.
Well, it's not true. When he was campaigning in New Hampshire, he talked about New Hampshire being drug infested because of the opioid problems. So first of all, it's factually not true in terms of the word infested. It is and where there is a problem, the president identifies it.
Yep.
On the drug issue, he led Congress to pass in the last Congress a major drug opioid bill that deals with various sources of opioids, but also creates drug treatment options that are, and really expands drug treatment options to try to get people off of this cycle of despair that they face when they have opioid or other drug addictions. And he didn't sit there and say, gee, this is an inner city problem. He said this is an American problem that's really hollowing out a lot of the rural American communities, which were abandoned when we shipped jobs overseas, and we're left with very little economic capacity behind. So the fact is, it's factually untrue.
Absolutely. And you know the thing that bothers me so much, Rick, and of course you're closer to things that are done and said back there on the East Coast politically, but why, and this is kind of a simple but maybe even naive question, why today more than ever before is anything and everything said always going to turn to be racist?
Well, here's the problem that the left has, and it's become, they've created it. They want a hyphenated society, and they want to divide it. And so if you make a comment that's about, say, Baltimore's 60% black, it's automatically determined to be a racist comment. And the truth is, it's not. I mean, we have to be able to deal with problems that exist in the country, and problems are not. But if you're on the left, you view everything through racist or racial or gender kind of glasses, and so when you look through everything through those glasses, and everything has to fit that construct, when in fact, what people should be able to do and can do and have done throughout history is look beyond the faces and look at the circumstances and say, you know what, human beings should not be living in these conditions, and the fact that they are in the United States of America is something which is unacceptable. And as a result, we have an economy that's booming right now. Jobs are plentiful, so they can't say that it's an economic problem. It's a cultural and social problem. A cultural problem is that we've destroyed in many communities. We've actually destroyed the family and created environments where people, even if they're working two jobs, have a difficult time raising their children. We have communities that have given up on entire swaths of neighborhoods where you have nothing but abandoned buildings, and essentially with a few ones that people are living in, you've got homeless population living in abandoned buildings that are unsafe, and with lots of drugs and rats and everything else that comes with it. And yet we tie the hands of our law enforcement and say, no, you can't go into those places and help clean them up and help the people on the inside. So we've abandoned some of our communities in such a way that we basically say, once it gets so rotten, everybody leaves it, we'll basically take bulldozers, we'll bulldoze it down, and we'll redevelop it. But that isn't the solution for those people. It's a solution for a long-term urban renewal solution. But it isn't a solution for the people, and quite honestly, it's an unacceptable solution to abandon people to a system where you literally in Baltimore, and I'm not just picking on Baltimore, I just know a little bit about it. I live not far from it. And in Baltimore, the education system is terrible. There's kids who literally go to school, and you can't find a single kid in that school who's proficient in math or reading. A single kid. How do you do that? I mean, you have to try to be that bad. Yet that's the result of our public school systems in Baltimore, at least in some areas where they've effectively abandoned the schools. So is it any surprise that you have kids who are essentially uneducated, go to the lowest common denominator and are selling drugs in the street corners and they're joining gangs and the like. It's just normal. It's what you would expect. It's why you have. We've got a system that breeds this based on a failed governmental system and an education system that's dominated by the teachers' unions, who don't really care about educating the kids, truthfully. At least not in some areas. It's a broad statement. But in some areas, like in Baltimore, it's really hard to make a case that they care about educating the kids, because they'd be going out on strike right now to make certain those kids were getting educations. And all we hear from the Baltimore teachers unions is really complaining about whether their health care and pension benefits are good enough. So you look at Baltimore, it's a problem. I'm writing on it today, but I'm really trying to take the perspective of there's people who live there They're Americans, and we need to figure out how to create an environment where they can thrive. And the government right now is getting in the way of that. The local and state governments are getting in the way of that. And this is really a state government issue, and Governor Larry Hogan, who's a Republican, knows it very well. He's a real estate developer. He knows what to do with it, and I'm hoping he will take charge and force Baltimore to start doing the things necessary to allow their citizens to thrive.
Absolutely. Well stated. Rick, last week, and I'm not going to be partisan on this whatsoever, Republican or Democrat, last week I sat and watched, sadly, a man that was not in control of his thinking or his faculties as far as really understanding, comprehending, and being able to speak, and that I'm talking about, of course, Robert Mueller. It was sad to watch a man that evidently had not written the report or could not retain any of the information in the report to relate to the senators at that hearing. It was really sad. What were your thoughts about the Mueller investigation, his reporting on the investigation, and what took place at the meeting between the Republicans and the Democrats? It doesn't appear that anything is settled to this moment.
No, there's nothing settled, that's for certain. We now have some breathing room between when Robert Mueller testified and today, and so we have a little bit more perspective. The thing that first of all, your statement about Robert Mueller, either he was putting on an act because he didn't want to talk about this stuff. He said he was only going to stay within the confines of the book, and consequently he did everything he could to dance around it and not actually have any other conversations. So that's possible. I think what's more probable is that he's lost a couple miles an hour off his fastball. His friend Bob Barr, the Attorney General, knew it, and he really tried to protect him from having to testify. And the Democrats insisted, and they kind of got what they didn't expect. They got a guy who was not able to carry the tune they wanted to have be sung. But having said that, with perspective, thing that shocks me about it is clearly there is no reason to proceed down this pathway of Russian collusion, and yet Democratic leaders are hell-bent on doing it. Regardless of all facts, regardless of anything that's in front of us, they're hell-bent on doing it. The good news that comes out of it is that we now have confirmed from Robert Mueller that he didn't even know who Fusion GPS was. He was so apparently isolated in terms of what he was doing that he didn't even know the pieces that he had to put together to be able to find out and get to the origins of the probe, of the alleged Russian collusion, and that have been proven to be false. That put our nation through 3 years of this garbage, and he had either no curiosity or was incapable of asking questions about the origins, and as a result, that is a field that needs to be examined, because the only way we're going to fix this is to make sure it never happens again, is to get to the bottom of who did it, make sure that they get punished severely. And and quite honestly, we can't have intelligence services running a counterintelligence operation against the President of the United States or against the political campaign in this country. It's against everything our nation stands for, and we have to not allow it to happen. I'd say that if it happened against the Democrat campaign or a Republican campaign, it's wrong. And we have to stop it and make sure that those who thought it was a good idea pay a price so those below them know that they should never do this. Because I'm afraid that this has lasted so long that we may have created a culture within our intelligence services that this kind of behavior is okay, and it isn't.
We have a caller with a comment and a question. Quickly, caller, I'm down to the last couple of minutes. Fast, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Well, after the Mueller, did his interview, David Gergen from CNN said this. He says, we don't ever talk about what's happening that Fox talks about but he says it's coming our way. And when they asked Mueller about Mifsud, who is another new person involved in this, we just keep digging deeper and finding more and more people. And Barr and the gentleman from Massachusetts and others who are digging into this, yes, I'm hoping David Gergen is right when he says it's coming our way, and we need to find the truth. I'll hang up.
Respond to the caller, please, Richard.
Well, I think it's sad that Gergen has worked for both Republican and Democrat administrations at high levels. So let me just say who he is for those who don't know. I think it's sad that anybody would construct this into coming our way versus coming their way. Nobody's going to go after CNN. Nobody's going to go after MSNBC in this. So if they're sitting there with rooting interest and saying it's coming our way, it means that getting to the bottom of getting to the truth of the matter and discovering that people were lying to CNN, lying to MSNBC, manipulating the Democratic leaning media to push narratives that weren't true. If that's perceived by CNN as being against them, then there's a real that just demonstrates the challenge, because this isn't about coming after them or in terms of that, from a partisan perspective. This is about getting to the bottom of the truth of the matter and cleaning up a system that we can't have our foreign intelligence services used to manipulate American political processes. That's what this is. And if they believe if some of the media believe that is coming after them, that to me is probably more scary than the actual intelligence services themselves, because it tells you how the media is going to look at it, and they're going to cast it in a First Amendment light anytime they can. So I'm disappointed by David Gergen's statement.
Let me just say this. I've only got 2 minutes left, and I want you to comment on this next statement real quick, if you would, Rick. Democratic New York Representative Jerry Nadler said, and I quote, "My personal view is that he," meaning Trump, "richly deserves impeachment. He said he has done many impeachable things. He's violated the law 6 ways from Sunday, but that is not the question. The question is, can we develop enough evidence to put before the American people who we've broken the log jam?" He made some incomplete sentences in his quote, but the basic thing is that he's still looking for anything impeachable against Donald Trump. Your thoughts about Jerry Nadler?
Jerry Nadler promised his conference that he was going to bring impeachment charges against Trump. And his problem is that Trump hasn't broken the law, at least that they can prove. And so he is sitting there asserting, we know Trump's broken the law, we just can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Figure out how, we can't prove it, but we know he broke the law, so we've got to continue with impeachment, searching for some law he might have broken. And ultimately, that's what this has always been. It's a witch hunt. That's what Jerry Nadler's promised more of. And the American people need to reject it.
Absolutely. One of the best guests any radio host could have. President of Americans for Limited Government, Rick Manning. God bless you, man. See you next Monday. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.
See you next Monday, and thank you for all you do, Zeb. Really appreciate the opportunity to be on your air.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. One of the nice people in the business, and I appreciate Rick Manning of Americans for Limited Government. Thank you very much. Holy cow, I got to pay some bills and remind you about what's going on at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More over at 459 Overland and Burley. Woo! They're having a closeout on some of their flooring, and they've got carpeting at prices that are unheard of. They've got some mattresses 50% off. They've got some recliners 30 to 40% off. My goodness, they've got some carpet for less than 99 cents per square foot. Wow, you better check it out today. Go in and don't hesitate to talk to the best, to work with the best, and that's Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. 459 Overland and Burley. Great people that really understand the beautification and comfortization of your home. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Want to remind you, too, Wednesdays at 10:06, don't forget that Sportsman's Warehouse, bringing you the old fishing hole with Josh Anderson. He'll be standing in some stream or have a boat on the lake or whatever while he's doing the interview. And that's all brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse. They have it all for you, the outdoorsman at Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. The old fishing hole on Wednesdays at 10:06. Want to remind you, too, quickly about Let's Ride. Caller, I'll be there in a second. Stand by. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Don't forget, they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. And I urge you, we got a lot of summer left and a lot of warm temperatures. If you're looking for watercraft, they've got them. Hit the lakes, hit the streams, hit the rivers. And they've also got all the side-by-sides, the four-wheelers, everything for you to have fun outside. And don't forget, great accessory department and a super service department to keep you running. Don't forget, Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, where the fun is sold. Caller, real quick. I've got another guest, but I'll take your call. Go ahead, please.
Well, I wanted to clarify what I meant by David Gergen saying this. He's not talking about CNN. He's talking about the left. We've been ignoring the reality of what happened with the DNC and the FBI and the Department of Justice, and the truth is going to come out. And this Mifsud is just one more peel off the onion, and Gergen admitted that it's coming their way, the left.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
And so I think it was just a small statement that is really telling to what they believe is happening. Nadler's side will lose this if Barr does his job.
I totally agree with you, caller, and I've got another guest waiting, and I've got to get him on the air, but I do appreciate your comment and your clarification. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right now, I've got to zip to the next phone line, and we're going to have now the man from Beantown talking to the Idaho Cowboy. Hello, Gary Goldman, nationally recognized host of Business, Politics, and Lifestyles. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Zeb? Thanks for having me on.
I'll tell you what, Gary, there is so much to talk about with you because you live back there in the middle of basically big political news. I don't even know where to start. Let's start, first of all, with what happened last week with the Mueller Senate hearing and all the questions and all the supposed information that was supposed to be clarified to the American public. I've stated, and I'll stand behind my statement, that I saw a broken man with lack of ability and trying to cover you-know-what with knowledge that he didn't possess and on a report that he didn't write. Now that I've said it, tell me if I'm wrong or right.
Well, look, there's no doubt about it that he was, for someone who was involved in a report for 2.5+ years, spent $30 million of the taxpayers' money. He was conveniently unfamiliar with that report. Now, whether it's because he is truly frail, frazzled, and feeble, I'm not sure. I personally, my take on it was quite the Academy Award performance on the part of Robert Mueller. Because here's my thought process. Here's a guy. Look, I don't agree with many of the things that Mueller did over his career here. You know, here in Boston, we have the incident with Whitey Bulger, and there's other things, but for someone to take a career that, you know, people would refer to him as stellar, you know, a lot of honorable work over his lifetime, and to throw that away in a 7-hour congressional hearing, 7-hour plus or minus congressional hearing, makes me wonder if he was out of his, if there was something going on with Mueller's mental capacity. I truly believe someone would have gone to the Democrats and said, not a good idea to put him on the stand for X, Y, and Z. If you look at the video of him walking into the hearing and talking to people, he looked astute, ready to go, and it was as soon as they said, you know, the mics were on and it was time to ask questions to me, is when everything went astray. So I'm not sure what went on with Mueller there, but there's a part of me that honestly believes that it may have been a great Academy Award performance.
But the incompetency and uneducated attitude and answers, like not knowing what Fusion GPS was, didn't that lead you to sit back in your chair and say, what in the world is going on here?
Well, led me to believe a couple of things that I thought right off the bat. One, that Mueller was nothing more than a figurehead throughout this whole investigation. The only time we'd really see Robert Mueller, think about it, we really never heard him speak that much about the investigation, if any. We'd see him walking with his entourage into and out of what they perceived as a meeting, or maybe something they were heading to discuss the what was going on with this investigation. But we didn't hear from him. He didn't speak a lot. But he was definitely disheveled. But the reason is, why was he disheveled? He couldn't answer any of the questions. And there's another part of me that, studying Mueller, especially after this hearing, I went back and looked at numerous video tapes of not just hearings, conversations that he had with people, some press conversations in the last several months. There was no indication there to me that he had lost any capacity, that he was going to come into a hearing and just sort of ramble on and play, quote-unquote, Mickey the Dunce, is what he did. And there's a part of me that also believes that a guy of his stature and nature, even if he was the figurehead, I would have personally believed that Mueller would have at some point read that report and understood that report. Now, why he didn't answer questions and why he did not even understand some of the questions that were proposed to him on the report is a good question. But there's a part of me that says this was all a play on his part.
Let me ask you this part of it then. Representative Jim Jordan and many others, when they were asking questions about certain information or certain individuals that were not put into the study, the investigative study of the Mueller report, and questioning why they weren't put in, or why their statements weren't investigated, or their doings weren't investigated. I mean, it created in me, and I watched the whole thing from the get-go, it created in me that the Mueller report may have been a $40 million fiasco that really wasn't as thorough as they told us it was.
Well, I totally agree with that. I think a lot of the Mueller report, was relied on mainstream media reporting. It was almost as if they were listening to the mainstream media in deciding what they were going to put into the report. I think the report is, a good part of it was the folks. If you listen to witnesses, I mean, I don't know, we've had Jerome Corsi on the show a couple of times, and he told his experience within that hearing. And to me, it was selective who they wanted to prosecute, and whom they did prosecute. It wasn't as if they had anything on them. It was almost like a vendetta. If you don't work with us, you're going to go to jail. Your family members are going to be investigated. So I'm not sure how much of that work was put into the report, into real work on the report. And it was definitely, look at a lot of these people whom charges were filed against. They were hustled, in my opinion. They were coerced into telling something they may not have wanted to end the situation. Some of them were going bankrupt, spending money on legal affairs, and that's just not right. It should not be happening to American citizens. If you've done something and you have to be charged with it, that's fine. But to beat on somebody and to hustle them into saying you're guilty just to put a star next to his name so that now you can make it look like your report has some substance, very dangerous precedent set. And everybody, no matter what political affiliation, should be concerned about that, and they should be concerned about the big picture, which was the soft coup they were trying to push through in this country. Doesn't matter, about your political affiliation. At some point, this time it was your side, next time it could be my side. We've got to be very careful, and we should never allow that to happen.
Gary, I, like you, had all the top personalities, Corsi, and everyone else connected to this case, if you will, on my program, and asked a lot of questions, etc. But all I see is the Democrats and the left. More so now, maybe, than before the Mueller report was brought public, with big shovels in their hand, and they keep on digging. They keep on digging. They're going to create a case no matter what they have to do. They're going to beat the bushes for snakes to crawl out of there. And Nadler just came out and said, quote, according to his thoughts on President Trump, he, meaning Trump, has done many impeachable violations. He's violated the law 6 ways from Sunday. Would you please, Gary Goldman, tell me how he can validate that kind of a statement when nothing's been proven?
Right. He's been making that statement all along, and he has proven nothing. This last debacle with Mueller proved that. And, there's a couple things. One is Nancy Pelosi has no control over what's going on, and that's why, that term of the inmates are running the asylum, that's definitely what's going on at within the Democratic Party. But you're right, Zeb. They're going to go after Donald Trump no matter what. Now, it may not be for impeachment. At some point, I think they're going to say, look, there's really no impeachable offense, and they're getting into the 2020 election cycle, and somewhere I think they will say this will hurt us more than it's going to help us because there's nothing there. There'll be a lot of time and wasted money. What they will continue to do now and when President Trump wins re-election, they will go after him. They will go after him personally. They'll go after him business-wise. They're going to go after his family. It's going to be a fiasco that never stops until, A, the American people demand that it stops, which is not going to happen, or two, until Barr and his department start indicting and arresting those involved in the conspiracy to overthrow Donald Trump and this whole fake Russian fiasco. Until then, they are going to continue this in their mind. This is the best thing for the people of the country. They are so out of touch with reality because when you read some of the polls, Democrats, Republicans, and independents alike didn't even want this last hearing with Mueller, and they're certainly getting tired of what's going on.
You know, you made the statement using your words, Nancy Pelosi with no control. Those are the words you just used. I couldn't agree with you more. However, I want you to explain, there seems to be a lot of people on the left that are poo-pooing the fact that Donald Trump's too worried or giving too much credence to the squad, all four of those women that I think are absolutely repulsive. What are your thoughts on the squad and the fringe, if you will, of the Democratic Party, to which I think those women, have complete control over, and Nancy is diminishing?
I agree. Nancy is diminishing. Look at those. The squad, let's just refer to them as the squad, is in complete control over that end of the party. They're gaining power every day. They honestly believe that they will be able, I firmly believe that AOC and others alike believe that they will somehow overtake Nancy Pelosi, and that very well may happen. I mean, at this point in time, you can't rule anything out. But as far as the squad's concerned, first of all, dangerous group of individuals.
Yes.
Now, I have no problem with people coming as a rep into Congress and wanting to do some things, wanted to change and help out the country. That's what we put them there for, work on problems and be proactive to deal with situations in the country. That hasn't been their demeanor since the day they were sworn in. Their demeanor has been to rip apart the United States of America, blame the United States of America for everything that is happening within this country and the world, which is absolutely absurd. I don't want to hear that. I think a majority of the American people don't want to hear it. But the slant that they take it to, they use every possible card, whether it's race, anti-Semitism, white privilege. I mean, they use whatever they have to address, quote-unquote, the masses. And the problem is the mainstream media runs with their stories daily and is giving it credence. So they are a problem. They're very dangerous. And if Pelosi loses control, I think you're just going to see that segment of their party spin eventually what I hope is out of control. Look, Donald Trump is capable of handling himself. I think some of the things that he threw out there as far as, go back, if you read the whole tweet, it was go back to your own country, make things better, then come back and tell us how it was done.
Right. Meaning
stop talking, stop telling us everything that's wrong with our country. Where you came from was a mess. And it's like they want to turn where they came from, our country, into where they came from, Zeb. Absolutely, absolutely ridiculous. But I am so tired of them ripping apart the United States of America, and I'm so tired of them purporting to be experts in everything from airlines to fiscal responsibility to infrastructure, the military. It takes time to learn that stuff. You don't just walk in there and become an expert on it. Those four individuals, in my opinion, are nothing more than actresses that receive a set of orders every day, a script, and go out and push it to the American people. Whomever is behind them, probably many groups that are behind them, but that's what they're doing. And as a friend asked me one day, who's the captain of the squad? I said the captain of the squad is George Soros and alike, those individuals that are funneling money through little entities or organizations to give these people the push that they need to get their change, to change this country. Look at that. Their goal is to change the country the way you and I know it and the way you and I love it.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line. We cannot allow that to happen.
Absolutely. Gary, I'm going to be, you're the first man on my program this week that I'm going to ask this question, and I know you're very well educated on this. Tomorrow night and Wednesday night, we're going to be hearing the second of the painful Democratic debates. What do you think they're going to talk about? Do you think they're going to go after Joe Biden? Do you think they're going to be like sharks going after each other and seeing blood going after it? Are they going to go after certain issues? I mean, really, where are they going to head in this next series of debates on Tuesday and Wednesday night?
I think they're definitely going to go after each other. I think that opened up when they attacked Biden, when she attacked Biden, Kamala Harris there the last time. So he's open game. I think, look, in order to get to the next level, I think in their minds, they realize we have to go after one another and start differentiating ourselves. You know, Joe Biden seemed a little confused and perplexed as to why she went after him. I thought we were friends. Joe Biden, come on, put that act away. You know what politics are all about, and they're going to try and get to the next level. So they're definitely going to attack one another. But I think they're also going to go after the president, still on the border, still on impeachment, that he's committed, impeachable offenses. There's Russian collusion. And, the last statement that he made against, that he threw out there regarding Baltimore, Maryland. And look, he is 100% on target with that. We have people in our government complaining about the conditions at the border when there's cities and towns within their districts that are horrific. You know why they're horrific? They make promises they can't keep. Corruption. They're in the swamp. And number two, they spend their time on dealing with everything but their districts and figuring out how they can be reelected by, lining their pockets with individuals that are going to help them get to that point. So I think they'll be attacking one another, and I think it's going to be immigration, it's going to be the border, it's going to be, there's still an impeachable offense here, and, whatever Trump said in the, regarding Baltimore, and whatever he may say in the next 24 hours. But they're definitely, I think they need to go after one another if they want to move forward. It's becoming a very interesting field there, and they've got to start thinning it out because it's absolutely absurd. None of them really have a platform to run on. They jump on, as much as they go against one another, they jump on each other's coattails. If someone says something, that next candidate is on top with that same type of issue. They have no platform. Yeah. It's all anti-Trump. It's all anti-America. It's all let's get this progressive movement in. It's let's get socialism into America on the next level. And we can help you out that much better by doing that. That's what it's all about.
Gary, I want to wrap this up by talking a little bit more about the border. And if you don't think I'm right, please jump in and tell me so. But honestly, the way that President Trump's approach to the border is with tightening with the wall, and he did get some wall funding that was okayed by the Supreme Court, tightening down our borders with more personnel, working with Mexico and getting Mexico to agree to be basically kind of a partner in trying to stymie a lot of the illegal aliens, and also creating now more interest with Guatemala and other countries for them to be more cognizant of the illegal alien problem. I think left unchecked, this man and his administration could absolutely solve this border crisis leading into and perhaps beyond 2020, but the Democrats are scared to death that's going to happen.
I agree with you. The recent news in Guatemala to me was big, and Donald Trump is brilliant. He knows how to work with people from like a business type of level. The negotiating part of it, and that's what he's doing. Basically, look, you want to trade with the United States, you want to work with the United States. This is what we have to do. Now he has thrown out a little olive branch, saying, "Look, we're going to help you with X, Y, and Z, but you have to work with us." And this is the way it has to be, or we're going to start putting tariffs on goods. We could just name everything he's done. I think he can solve the border problem. I think the Democrats are petrified of that. Close off the border, they lose their next round of votes over many, many years, because that's what this is all about, Zeb. Let's bring as many illegals as we can in. Let's get them to vote, and we can change the course of history in the United States. He's not going to allow that to happen. And the bottom line is he's going to solve a problem that administration after administration says could not be done. And most presidents would have kicked in the towel and said, look, I tried to do it. They won't give me border money. They won't do this. The difference with Donald J. Trump is he doesn't quit. If you don't give me the money, I go after the Mexicans. I go after Guatemala. I move money around, and they don't know how to handle this individual because they've never dealt with anybody who has taken the job to do what he promised for the American people. They're all used to getting their pals in there. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on, but when they get in there, it's sort of work together with a little wink to keep it the way it is, the good old boy, the good old woman's network, whatever you want to call it. But Donald Trump doesn't have to be doing this. He's a billionaire. He's doing this because he loves the United States of America, and he's doing a great job. Look, a lot of people do not like Donald Trump, and I try to question as to why, and they're not really sure why. But he's helping the American people, and he's telling us the way it really is. And you know what? We needed to know the way it really is, because many of us thought what was going on is correct, as he pointed out. But he's showing what has happened, and he's going to win this battle at the border.
One final thought here, Gary, and I'm almost out of time. I've got less than 2 minutes left, but we, of course, have talked to you many, many times on this program, and when we're talking about audiences, I would assume that you are in a hotbed for more liberalism than I am out here in Idaho. How is your audience responding to the border story investigation?
The border story, look, they defend the Democratic side on the borders. And I say to people, look, do me a favor. Open your door at night, take your locks off your door, and anyone that comes, it's the same thing. Would you allow anyone to occupy your home? And most of them say no. But they don't get it in regard to the border. It's like a disconnect. And I said, we're not talking about immigration that's legal. We're talking about illegal immigration. It's become, look at it, Massachusetts, sanctuary cities, sanctuary towns, you name it, we have it. And the crime shows it, incidents that have occurred showed it. So they're very sympathetic to those trying to get into this country. And I just keep telling them to use the word, remember, it's illegal immigration we're trying to fight, not legal immigration. And the other part is, it's amazing how many called this week and told me what a great job Mueller did during his hearing, which leads me to believe that they're just totally out of touch with the realities. Yeah, there's some people that are going to just drink the Kool-Aid no matter what, and that's what we're faced here with in Massachusetts on a regular basis.
Gary, you're welcome here anytime. Gary Goldman, nationally recognized host of Business, Politics, and Lifestyles, and back in Beantown, Boston, Massachusetts. God bless you, Gary. Come back soon.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir. Always enjoy having him on the air. Gary Goldman from back in Boston, and tells it like it is. I appreciate that. Holy cow. I got to tell you like it is with the weather forecast, and the weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, providing accounting services to the Minicash area for well over 50 years. I mean, over 50 years of serving you, your family, and your business with the best people, the best thoughts, and the best tax return preparation, tax planning, retirement planning, the list goes on and on. They are the professionals. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Right now, here's Scotty with the weather.
I'm Scotty Cameron. Today looks like we're going to see some showers in the afternoon. Highs are going to be around 92, going to be a little bit muggy as well. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 59. Going to be hot tomorrow, expecting a high of 96, mostly clear for Tuesday night, lows of 57. Then for Wednesday, partly sunny, a high of 92. Thursday, highs around 88. And for Friday, sunny and 89. That's your 7th the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron.
I tell you what, old Scotty does a great job, and when Gina's not there, believe me, it's in good hands. Thank you, Scotty. Weather forecast brought to you by Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company, and they have offices in Burley and Rupert serving and helping you. Maybe folks that are starting a business, or maybe changing over to a partnership or a corporation, or maybe you're looking to expand your business and hire more employees. You've got questions, they've got answers at Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. As I said, providing accounting services to the Minicash area for over 50 years. Phillips Oaks Goodwin Crane and Company. Oh, my. Let's see. Oh, quickly, too, I wanted to remind you about our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Life insurance, health insurance, employee benefits. They honestly are there to serve you, and it's so easy to have them start helping you. All you have to do is pick up the phone, dial the number, 436-4424. Dedicated, responsive, and accessible, always there to serve you. And they're easy to find right there on the curve going into Rupert. Highway 24 is the location in Rupert. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. You be sure and get a hold of them today. 436-4424. What have we got cooking for the rest of the morning? Well, let's just take a look. We've got Phil Kirpin coming up this next hour, and he's the president of American Commitment and .org, and we're looking forward to having him come on and talk about the fake Democratic health care debate. I can't wait to hear that. And then at 10:30, we're going to be talking to the lovely Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Gardens. And then an old friend of ours, Greg Walden, is going to take the time to come on the program and talk about the Minidoka County Fair. And they are over there this morning in abundance. The Minidoka County Fair off and running. And I just absolutely, these are the nicest people. And it's the nicest, most, I don't know, it's got a personality. It's really got a personality for a county fair that cares. And I urge you to get over there and see those good folks. The Minidoka County Fair in full swing starting today. What else have we got cooking here? I mentioned about Vicky and Vicky's Country Garden, and we'll take some more of your phone calls, too, so don't forget that. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I said it last hour, I'll say it again. Wednesdays at 10:06, don't forget, Sportsman's Warehouse sponsors the Old Fishing Hole with Josh Anderson and all the latest in fishing, tackle, where to go get the big ones, etc. All of that on the Old Fishing Hole. Brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Right now, Wheels, it's all yours. Take us up to news. Good morning on this last Monday of July 2019. Holy moly, this summer's going fast. Hey, Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of safe driving tires. You stop in and see them today, along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, I also want to remind you about our friends at Dino Septic Service. Hello, Dinos. They do a job that you and I, we don't want to do. We don't want to be out there pumping a septic tank. We don't want to be out there in charge of liquid waste removal and sewer and sink drain lines cleaned. Oh, no. And they do it with a big smile on their face. They've got the best of backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed, septic inspections, all of this and more. And they've recently expanded to better serve more people. Dino Septic Service. Numbers to call, 436-6526 or 678-1638. Fast, fair, friendly service with the big truck that says, smells cargo on the way. Dino's Septic Service. Want to also give a great big shout out to our friends at Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley. Hello, Curtis and Lorena and the rest of the staff at Patterson's. Oh my goodness, they've got a closeout on power cords going on right now, and the monster cables are 50% off. They are your electronic needs headquarters for home theater systems, surveillance cameras. Really, really good to have. Car stereos and speakers, complete sound systems, TV. Why, they've got them all right there at Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley. Number to call, 678-6997. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Patterson's in Burley. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and we have with us, ladies and gentlemen, a gentleman that I'm really excited to have on my program again, and that's, of course, Phil Kerpen, president of AmericanCommitment.org. Phil, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm doing great, Zeb. How are you?
Well, you're going to be talking about a subject this morning that is one of my infuriating subjects, and if you want to get my dander up and get me fighting mad, just talk about the Democrats and wanting to replace all health care with a government-run and controlled health care system. It's absolutely not going to work. Single payer will be the ruination of health care in this country. How would you respond?
Well, remember 10 years ago when the Democrats fixed health care and made it wonderful and great and affordable for everyone?
Yeah.
Well, now they're making even grander promises. You can imagine it'll work out even worse for everyone.
How could they make it even worse?
Well, you've got the most extreme, hardcore, kind of open socialists in the Democratic Party, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, who want to immediately ban, prohibit, outlaw all private insurance and force everyone into a government-run single-payer system where politicians and bureaucrats make all the health care choices. That's pretty frightening. And then you've got the rest of the Democratic field. They kind of want the same thing, but they don't want to be honest about it. So they say they want to just add more government control and more government involvement to the existing Obamacare system as a transition over time. Kamala Harris says she wants to take 10 years to transition everyone into that single-payer system, but they all more or less want the same thing, some of them more quickly than others, but they all pretty much want to eliminate all private insurance and force everyone into a government-run system, and that would be considerably worse in every respect to even the largely dysfunctional healthcare financing system that we have now, because in a government-run system, there's no competition and no choice. And if the government decides that a procedure won't be covered, you really have no recourse. And what tends to happen in the government-run systems around the world and in the United States as well, where we have things like the VA, is you get very long waiting lists, particularly to see specialists, and you get shortages, rationing of care, because the only cost control mechanism in a government system is delaying and denying care. And so it's a very dangerous path we're going down now with these Democrats, and I don't see much real difference between the out and proud Bernie Sanders, socialize all of healthcare tomorrow, and people like Joe Biden who want to get to the same place more slowly.
Phil, you studied this, you know a lot about this, and you could go toe-to-toe and nose-to-nose with anybody in arguments over this. But my fear is that the American public is so naive, and I will say this, dumbed down because of the media. I don't think they really know how dangerous a single-payer insurance program would be.
Well, I don't know about that. The polling actually shows that people are pretty strongly opposed to this once they understand that it means, that private insurance is outlawed and there's no choice and no competition. It's just everyone in the government plan. It's interesting. The Medicare for All as a slogan polls pretty well, but when you add just a little bit of information telling people what that means, what that entails, the numbers really switch around. And so I don't think that most Americans want a socialized healthcare system. I think most Democratic primary voters do, which is why they're sort of falling over themselves in the primaries to sort of rush to the left on healthcare. But I think that come general election time, you're going to see them using all the same lies, all the same Obama lines that say, Biden's already out there saying if you like your plan, you can keep it. I mean, I don't know how the audience prevents themselves from breaking out into hysterical laughter, but he's using that as a line on the stump.
When you look at Canada and you look at other sources of information as to how dangerous a single payer would be or government-controlled health care, basically with a kind of a hemlock society, allowing certain people to be healthy as certain other people just go die, the American people should have pitchforks and walking down Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, we saw a lot of that back during the Obamacare debate, of course. Just a huge national uprising against it, and they sort of, forced it through anyway. And it's pretty remarkable, I think, that the same Democrats who did that just 10 years later are now saying that the problem with Obamacare was that it was not enough government control and involvement. They want to escalate even further now. And you're right that countries that have single-payer systems like Canada have significantly worse health outcomes in the U.S. in many respects, much worse cancer survival rates in particular, and they have very long waiting lists to see specialists, and they've got a lot of challenges. And frankly, people with the ability to pay often come to the United States for care, even though they're covered under their nationalized system. If you want to skip the waiting list and you can afford to do it, you go to where the good doctors and hospitals are, and we have many of the best in the world in the United States. The other aspect of this, though, Zeb, which I think is very important, that gets lost when we talk about other countries is, one of the reasons that other countries are able to make their government-run systems work to a certain extent, even with price controls that would otherwise cause acute shortages, is they're able to free ride off of the medical innovation that we're financing in the United States. And almost all of the new research and development for pharmaceuticals, for new medical devices, for new procedures, almost all of that in the world is either done in the United States or is done with an eye to the U.S. market, because that's where you can earn a return on investment for the billions of dollars that it takes to develop new cures, new procedures, and so forth. The rest of the world is able to benefit from that. We're willing to pay for it so they do not suffer the shortages that they might otherwise because of the price controls in their government-run systems. If the U.S. goes down that path, if we say, hey, we're going to have government control and government set prices and a government system, I think that would have a major negative impact on research and development and the discovery and development of new cures, new devices, and new procedures globally, because there would be no place left that you have a relatively market-based system. And that could be the real tragedy of this, more so than any of the stuff we would see right away, is that, over time, we could get a lot less medical innovation. And by the way, that has major negative budget impacts as well, because on top of the 35 or 40 trillion that trillion with a T, it's an insane number, doubling the size of the federal government to have it take over healthcare. If we undermine the incentive for R&D and we fail to cure Alzheimer's, we fail to develop, more effective treatments for diseases, that means we're going to spend a lot more on chronic care as well. And so it's really important that we keep the incentive strong for R&D, and that you really don't have that in government systems. And the rest of the world is enjoying the benefit of us being willing to pay for it here. What's been a focus of the Trump administration is trying to end foreign free riding for pharmaceuticals in particular, force them to pay more of that R&D cost so we can pay a little bit less without undermining that incentive. But if the Democrats win and we go the other direction and we just say, hey, we're going to adopt price controls too, like the rest of the world, that could have really devastating negative effects in terms of, not curing diseases, which would be a really tragic outcome.
Phil, in your studies of writing this article that you had put together, the fake Democratic healthcare debate, what did you find out about other companies, other competitive companies in this country that want to help grow their company, they want to help grow services to the American public? Are they just sitting back waiting, wondering if they're going to be able to turn the key in the lock tomorrow morning?
Well, the economy is pretty strong in this country right now. We're in a little bit of a slowdown compared to the pace that we were last year. I think a lot of that has to do with the uncertainty from trade, and there are a few other headwinds. But generally, the economy is very strong now, to the extent that healthcare is still a pretty big burden on American businesses, which it is. That's because the democratic system, what they put in with Obamacare has totally failed to control costs. They said they were going to bend the cost curve down. They've bent it up. It still is a persistent, near the top of the list of concerns and costs for American businesses is dealing with health care. The Democrats are now saying, well, great, we're going to save businesses from that by taking it away from them, putting everyone in a government system. The problem with that as a solution, Zeb, is you need all those new taxes to pay for moving it into government, and that is significantly anti-business and very bad for the economy if we move trillions of dollars of private activity into the government and have to raise the taxes to pay for it. So I think their solution actually makes the healthcare financing challenge worse for businesses, even though they wouldn't be directly paying for it. They'd have to pay the taxes either directly or indirectly, and that would generally slow down the economy significantly. So I think the economy's pretty strong right now in this country. If we could actually fix healthcare, for real, and do some of the things we've been talking about for a long time, repeal Obamacare and get real choice and competition going and drive down costs, that would certainly be an economic positive. But I don't think that that's the big economic question we've got right now ahead of the election, the presidential election, is will the president be able to reach a deal with China? And I mean, if we can get a deal with China, I think we're off to the races economically. We've got really good regulatory policy. We've got really good tax policy right now. If we could get the big trade war off the table and resolved in a favorable way, we'd really be off to the races. That said, the problem with getting that done is the Chinese are looking at the negotiating table, and making a deal with President Trump is very hard for them compared to what it's going to look like if, say, Joe Biden's president, who's extremely soft on China. So they've got this huge incentive to just stall and wait and hope that the president loses, and that's what I think is going to make it so hard to get that deal. And so I think the economy is going to stay kind of in the range that it is now, sort of the 2%-ish growth range because of the overhang of the China trade situation. It would be amazing if we could get a positive resolution to that, but they've got such a strong incentive to delay. I think it's going to be hard to do.
Let me ask you, if you were on the panel tomorrow night and Wednesday night at the second of the Democratic debates, what kind of questions would you ask Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and others in regards to really pinning them down on this health care issue?
Well, I think that what we need to find out from them is whether they think that people should be able to make their own health care choices for themselves and their families, or they think politicians and bureaucrats should be in charge of that. And, of course, they're going to try to say that they can have both, but in reality you can't have both. If everyone's in a government program, our choices and our freedoms and our ability to make decisions will necessarily be greatly restricted. So I think they need to pin them down on sort of that core question of who really should make the health care decisions in the end. And I also think that they've really got to talk about the cost issue. And they've got to force them to talk about how they would actually pay for these systems. The trillions of dollars involved make it completely impossible to do it with tax hikes on the rich, which is what they like to say. They would need very broad-based taxes, some kind of national sales tax or value-added tax, or huge increases in the income taxes on the middle class. And, at least Bernie Sanders is honest about that he wants broad-based tax increases, but very few of the other candidates are. So I'd really like to see them pressed on the financing question. And, of course, in the last debate we found out every single one of them wants us to offer free health care for illegal aliens as well, which was kind of a shocking revelation. And I'd be interested in how that works with the financing of this system as well, especially if you're no longer enforcing the border, as they suggested as well. We're basically going to tell everyone in the world they can come to the U.S. for free health care. That might add a few more trillion with a T onto that price tag.
Phil, one final thought. We've talked about the economy. We've talked about the negatives of a single-payer unit. But there's another issue to healthcare that I don't think is being addressed enough, and that's getting young people that want to become doctors and nurses and get into the medical profession, because a lot of them are afraid of government control and regulation on their income. I want you to address that.
Yeah, we've got shortages of providers in a lot of areas and a lot of fields, and particularly primary care providers, for a variety of reasons. And doctors have historically in this country been small businessmen. They ran their own practices. That is largely going away because the regulatory burden is so great that it's much easier to be part of a hospital system that has a compliance department that can deal with the government and deal with the insurance companies. And so we've seen this massive amount of consolidation, and doctors are more of salaried employees rather than being the boss and running their own practices in a lot of places in larger numbers. And the practice of medicine is less attractive for many than it once was. And it's not just on the front end. Recruiting the best and brightest is more difficult because they're going to finance and software and other things instead. But a lot of existing doctors are saying, hey, I don't want to deal with all this. I don't want to deal with these headaches. I'm going to sell my practice. I'm going to retire early, or I'm going to merge into a hospital system and dial back the amount of work I do dramatically. And so all of those trends make the shortages of providers more acute, and means that we're more likely to have long waits to see someone, or be difficult to find someone who's taking new patients. And so that's the whole other aspect of this, is we really need to improve the supply side of medical providers, encourage more people to go into the medical profession. I think one of the best ways we could do that would be to have medical liability reform, because malpractice insurance is so expensive right now because of the cost of all the verdicts that the trial lawyers win, and the practice of medicine is risky. You're going to do things that don't work out sometimes, unfortunately, almost no matter what you do. And so if we can get a handle on that, it would help. But also I think that just moving away from so much government control, so much bureaucracy, and giving doctors more kind of freedom to be able to deal with all that without selling their practice and just becoming a salaried employee of a hospital, would go a long way towards making it a more attractive profession again. And, a lot of our best and brightest always aspired to that, and some still do, but we're putting a lot of barriers in front of it, and that's not a good thing.
Very, very interesting and, quite frankly, dangerous election coming up in 2020, which could change the face of healthcare in the United States of America forever. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think we're pretty close to the point where kind of the system we have now, the sort of hybrid public-private and kind of Obamacare system we have now is probably not going to last that much longer. We're going to go in one direction or the other. We're either going to elect unified Republican control, and we're going to get the money and the control being devolved out to the states, and more choice and control, and people being able to make more decisions for themselves and their families, or we're going to get what the Democrats want, which is everyone in a nationally government-run system where we're all in the same plan, and politicians and bureaucrats are making the shots. I think that relatively soon, and we might get a divided government again and not move in either direction, so that's also a possibility, but I think relatively soon we're going to go in one direction or the other, and I just hope we go in the direction of more freedom, more choice, more competition, and not in the direction that Democrats want of putting everyone into a government plan.
Phil Kerpen, president of AmericanCommitment.org, thank you for being on the program. Please come back in the near future. Love to have you back on as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Have a good one.
Thank you, sir. I think this article that he has written, and I'll refer to the title of it, it is called The Fake Democratic Healthcare Debate. He has written an outstanding article. If you get a chance, go to his website, AmericanCommitment.org, and read it. America needs to be informed about what really is going to happen and could happen with the liberals, the left, and the Democratic Party trying to take over our healthcare system with a single-payer type unit, and it would absolutely be devastating. Look at other countries, study what's happened in other countries, i.e. our neighbors to the north, Canada, and you'll see exactly how dangerous this situation is. And I really appreciate Phil Kerpen coming on our program. Want to remind you, too, about some wonderful, wonderful people, and they are I should say, I've got to back up here and make sure I got the right ones on the air. I want to talk about Greystone Crossing right now. There you go, and of course, Kelly and Matt Wiggins. Oh, my. They have put together the beautiful Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living on El Fresco Road. That's 21st Street, just a mile east of Walmart. Wonderful meals, wonderful 3 meals a day, snacks, housekeeping, local transportation, all included in the rent. And, this is the neat thing about Greystone Crossing. It's a family-oriented type living center to where your friends are there, and it's just one big happy family sharing and enjoying lives. And I'll tell you, you got to stop in and look at the facilities. Make an appointment today. All you have to do is call 650-4979. I'll repeat that number, 650-4979. Kelly and Matt Wiggins at at Greystone Crossing Independent Senior Living in Heyburn. Wonderful place, just waiting for you. Wow. Of course, the Minidoka County Fair in full swing right now, the 71st annual. We urge you to be a part of your county fair. And we're going to be having Greg Walden on the program at about, let me take a look at the clock here, about 10:46, right after Vicky's Country Garden. And that's coming up at 10:30, Vicky's Garden. We're going to be talking to her about the warm temperatures and your garden crops, etc. Then we're going to have Greg Walden on. So we got a whole bunch of things to take care of right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Quickly for tomorrow, I wanted to give a rundown as to some of the people that are going to be on the program. We have Dan Kish with the American Energy Alliance coming on at 9:06, and I believe, Dan, did we get a confirmation from former Congressman Tom Tancredo? I bit my tongue twice. Tom Tancredo. And Dr. History is going to be on the program, and then we have a gentleman by the name of Al Rasuli. Interesting, talking about Iran and the dangers of Iran and terrorism, and he's going to be on there tomorrow morning also. But right now we're going to send it back over to our main studio. We'll be back with the lovely Miss Vicky in just a moment.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb.
Oh, let's get right to it. A wonderful lady waiting on the telephone line at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South 600 West of Paul. The lovely Miss Vicky. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. How are we doing today?
Not too bad. Now, this is going to be kind of our wave goodbye program to you. Summer is at its growing peak, and we're going to be saying goodbye after this program, and you've done all you can do to make people have good growing gardens. Any final thoughts as we kind of wave goodbye to everybody?
Well, the whole thing is we might not be on the air, but I'll still be here. So
Yep.
If they have problems, all they got to do is call and come and see me. We can still solve problems right here or on the phone. So it's we're still here no matter what. That's the one thing. One thing about it is it's getting fair time, so people are going to be getting their vegetables and their flowers and stuff ready for fair, and hopefully we're going to have a good surplus amount of vegetables and flowers going into the fairs. Of course, the Rupert Fair starts this week. And just a few tips for people that are taking vegetables and flowers into the fairs, and that is go out and pick your vegetables and cut your flowers the day that you're taking them in. Do them early in the morning. Keep them cool. Don't pick them when it's in the heat of the day. Go ahead and get everything done early in the morning on flowers. Check your flowers for damaged leaves, damaged petals on flowers. Judges look for all that kind of thing, and make sure there's no bugs on them. Pick the best of the best and have a bucket of cold water with you. Cut those flowers at an angle and go right straight into some water with them, and keep them in a nice cool area. That's if you have a cool room or something until you can go ahead and enter them in the fair. But don't try to cut flowers and stuff during the middle of the day. Vegetables will be crisper in that if you'll pick them first thing in the mornings. Early mornings with the dew on them and that, and put them right into a refrigerated area and keep them nice and crisp.
You know, I often wondered about what you just said, and that was going to be one of my questions, as a matter of fact. It sounds to me like the day of the judging at any respective county fair, they'd better have their car running and idling at a high RPM and ready to run to the fairgrounds and get that stuff there in a hurry, right?
Yes, and don't set them in a hot car either. Make sure you can put them in where there's air conditioning or whatever. Keeping those plants and vegetables as cool as possible. Sometimes a fine mist of water across the flowers, and that can help, and the vegetables also to keep them crisp. But you don't want to go in with anything partially wilted or stressed by heat, because the flower buildings are all going to be air conditioned. So keep everything, pick them early, cut them early, put them in water, have them, literally keep them as cool as you can until you get in there with them and give them every chance they can. Because as a prior judge at one time in my life, you have to look for everything you possibly can to find a problem on flowers.
Mm-hmm. Is it true that most police officers will let you exceed the speed limit if you're taking flowers to the fair?
Yeah, flowers going into the fair are always a challenge for people. They are. That's probably the hardest thing to get into the fair is the flowers.
Well, what I meant was they're going to ignore speeding tickets. I got flowers, I got to go to the fair.
I don't think that's going to get you out.
Oh.
I don't think that little officer's going to give you a flashing light brigade to get you there. I think he's probably going to give you that ticket.
Oh.
But like I say, yes, you want to get them there as soon as possible. You don't want, and like I say, do not leave them in a hot car. Don't decide to run into Walmart on the way to the fair.
Okay. But you mentioned also produce, and a lot of people that are going to be going to the fair to have their produce judged, etc. What kind of precautions? You mentioned about the flowers and the cool and the spray mist and everything. What about the produce? Is there any kind of precautions you need to take there?
Well, there again, like I say, your best time to you want your produce as fresh as possible. And so you the day that you enter, and usually they want you in there early in the morning with that kind of stuff. So go out early while everything is nice and cool. Clip them right then. Wash them in cool water. Check your produce for any kind of blemishes. You don't want any kind of a blemish on there. You want them looking as perfect as they can look. And there again, pick the best of the best. And clean them up good, and keep those also refrigerated until you're ready to go. Don't leave them sitting out hot because they will start to shrink. They'll start to shrivel a little bit if they get hot, and that's the first thing a judge is going to see.
Okay. Now, you being a judge, maybe you could share with the audience, if there are people out there that are headed to the fair with produce, are there any little tips of showmanship that you could give them?
Well, it's basically you want to present them looking as fresh and as crisp and as clean as possible. That's the main thing. You want to balance if it's a plate of 3, you want to try to balance your produce to where you don't have one great big one and 2 little tiny ones. You want to try to get a nice balance on your produce. If it's like raspberries and that type of thing, again, a nice cluster of them on there, a nice, fresh, even color, and as clean as you can get them. You don't want bugs crawling out of them about the time the judge picks one up.
Okay. Now, that leads me to another subject that I was going to ask you about. Last week, you said that now is a good time, I believe, to plant for fall-producing crops. Is that right?
You can do some fall-producing crops right now, anywhere from now into August, into September. A lot of people plant second crop of peas come about the first part of September when it's cooling down, and then they'll get peas. You can do a fall crop of carrots and that type of thing anywhere from now on because they can go clear into the late fall. Your spinaches and that kind of thing, if you're going to be doing those, just do smaller amounts of them during the heat. As it cools down, you'll be able to use them longer.
Okay, now, what about with the warm temperatures? And this week we're expected to have 90s plus all week long going into next week. Anything about the watering? I get questions all the time in regards to watering and getting the water under the crops.
To me, that is the best way because you saturate the ground. You don't necessarily need water on the foliage. That a lot of times causes problems in a lot of things, flowers, vegetables, and that. With your watering, if you're in sandy ground, you're going to want to possibly increase your water, either increase the watering time or increase the amount of times you're watering. If you're watering every 3 days, then maybe every other day on your watering in sandy ground. Your heavier ground, just know your ground and know whether or not it holds moisture or it doesn't. And in sandy ground, this is also a good time to bump your fertilization up on things because as you're watering more, you're leaching your fertilizers. your nutrients are kind of going down deeper. And so this is a good time with everything, setting on fruit, setting on produce, that type of thing. Keep your fertilization going, and not just nitrogen. Don't just keep throwing the nitrogen on them. You want a good balanced fertilizer with some good phosphate in it. A good high amount of phosphate will keep those vegetables and that producing.
You know, Vicki, one thing I wanted to mention is that we're so happy to have you on this program, and every week you've given a Vicki's gardening tip. What would be the tip for the day?
My tip for the day is get your gardening done early, get those weeds pulled, get your watering done, your bugs killed and everything, and then go over to the Rupert Fair and enjoy the fair, have some good food, and see what all the kids and everybody have done. The kids really appreciate our support. And on Saturday, bring your money and your checkbooks, and let's have a really good fat stock sale and support our kids in the area.
Wow, is that smooth or what? Ladies and gentlemen, she's been with us all summer during the growing season, and she's going to be there every day serving you at Vicki's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. But we've thoroughly enjoyed having her on our program. The lovely Miss Vicki. God bless you. What are the hours, by the way, before I let you go?
All right. Right now we're 9 to 5. We've kind of backed up a little bit. Things are slowing down, so we're 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and we are 9 to 3 on Saturdays and closed on Sundays.
Okay. I hope I see you at the Minidoka County Fair.
I'm sure you will, because that's one of my favorite things is the Minidoka Fair, and I've worked with kids all my life, and I absolutely love it, and I hope everybody comes out and sees us.
I love this lady, and I love her business, Vicki's Country Garden. God bless you. Take care. Thank you for being on the show.
Hey, thanks, Zeb.
All righty. Wonderful lady right there, the lovely Miss Vicki at Vicki's Country Gardens. Hey, it's time for the weather, and I've got a little frog in my throat, so bear with me this morning. Weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Don Scarrow and the crew, and the number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. Delicious meats for every occasion. Maybe you're looking for the bratwurst, or maybe you're looking for the different kinds of bacon, or the marinated pork ribs, or the tri-tips. Oh, it's all delicious from Scarro's Meats in Jerome. We'll tell you more right after Scotty has the weather.
I'm Scotty Cameron. Today looks like we're going to see some showers in the afternoon. Highs are going to be around 92, going to be a little bit muggy as well. Partly cloudy tonight with a low of 59. Going to be hot tomorrow, expecting a high of 96, mostly clear for Tuesday night, lows of 57. Then for Wednesday, partly sunny, a high of 92. Thursday, highs around 88. And for Friday, sunny and 89. That's your 7th the Ranch weather forecast. I'm Scotty Cameron.
I tell you what, old Scotty does a great job filling in for Gina, and that's the weather brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. You can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com, or give them a call at 324-7657. At Scarro's Meats, they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Wow. You know, I look forward to the wonderful people over at the Minidoka County Fair. And one of the gentlemen that has been so much fun to work with and talk to and everything and be a part of the Minidoka County Fair is Greg Walden. Greg, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, Zeb. How about you?
Well, I'm just sitting here in the studio enjoying a little bit of rain shower that just started over here. What's the weather doing over at the fair?
Well, you know, I'm actually in Twin Falls right now, gathering up a few more things and headed that direction. But, you know, I don't mind a little rain, Deb. It kind of cools things off. I think we're going to have some really good weather for the fair this year.
I believe so. Wheels, if you would, please, at the station, turn Greg up a little bit when he's talking. I'm having a hard time hearing him. This is the 71st annual Minidoka County Fair with the theme Making Tracks to the Minidoka County Fair. What makes your fair so special and unique, Greg?
You know what, Zeb? We've talked about this before. I think the thing that sets our fair above and beyond everybody else, it's still just a good old community time that everybody can come down. You can grab a burger, you can watch the kids, you can sit at a picnic table and visit with those folks that you haven't seen all year. It's kind of like a great big family reunion.
Okay. Now, today, the fair actually officially kicks off. And tonight, of course, the world champion lawnmower races. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, man, Zeb, if you have not been to a lawnmower race, you need to pack the kids up, get in the car, and head down there. It's a great, great time. These are lawnmowers that may or may not have been souped up just a little bit. And these guys go around in these tracks, and, I mean, they do a little bump and rub. They run them things as fast as they'll go, and it is a great, great time. It benefits the East End Fire Department, and those guys put on a great show.
All right. Now, we'll go through the litany of all the things to do over there. Tomorrow night on Tuesday, we're talking about a Tiny Tot Gymkhana. What's so special about this?
Oh, the Tiny Tots for the kids, Zeb. I mean, them kids can come out, do a little egg race, do a little barrel race, do a little whatever they want to do on that pony, and there's stuff for kids that don't have horses. I mean, they put on a great deal down there. You just got to go down and get them registered right before the deal, and they'll get them signed up.
Now, also tomorrow night on Tuesday, we're talking about the Ryan Shoup and the Rubber Band starting at 7 p.m. What do you know about those? And those folks are going to be sponsored by PMT.
Yeah, PMT's putting on another great concert. By the way, it's free. All you got to do is show up down at the racetrack grandstands, and they'll get you in there and give you a good time. I haven't heard too much about that band, but I'll tell you what, they always pick a good person to come put on a show.
Okay, now Wednesday, of course, I've had many of the Lions Club members say, don't you forget to tell everybody to come over to the Lions Barbecue on Wednesday. Tell us about that.
Oh, Zeb, you're talking about some of the best food you're going to get all year long. I mean, them guys put on a great, great meal. It's underneath the pavilion, so there's plenty of shade, nice chairs. Those guys will get you set up. Just hit one of the Lions Club people up for a dinner ticket, and they'll get you taken care of.
Now, I understand associated with the Lions Barbecue, what about that Fair Board Social?
Oh, man, Zeb, we always want to keep our community happy, so the Fair Board, they put on a big old Dutch oven cobbler social. So we'll have cobbler and ice cream after the Lions dinner. Just hang out, come eat with the Lions, buy some tickets from those guys, and then we're going to give you a free dessert. We're going to have, I can't even remember the list. I think there's apple and cherry, and I'm getting hungry, Zeb. I can't go on anymore.
All right, now, Wednesday and Thursday also in the rodeo arena, you're going to have a junior rodeo. Tell us about all that the kids need to know about signing up and everything else.
Books are open, I'm pretty sure still open. If you go on the website, you can get the stuff printed out. But, yeah, we're going to have 2 nights of junior rodeo. And, man, if you guys haven't ever watched junior rodeo, you need to come down. These are some of the top rodeo kids in the area that come out for this junior rodeo.
Okay. And then, of course, on Friday and Saturday, you're going to have what's called the Wild West Open Rodeo, and I know you're going to be a part of it.
Oh, yeah. We always got to put on a good old open rodeo for the public, and that'll be Friday and Saturday night. I think you're coming too, aren't you?
I'll be there.
It's always a good time. We'll give out some stuff. I know that we always got something going on, some sort of excitement. But, yeah, those open rodeo, I'm pretty sure those books are closed. But you come out and watch them guys enter up. And a lot of local people. We get some out-of-towners, too, but a lot of local people, some of the top guys around the country.
You know, one thing I don't want to overlook, Greg, and we've got 2 other items I wanted to mention. First of all, on Saturday also, you've got an antique tractor pull, and you know all about tractors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so this is a kind of a fun deal. It's after the Fat Stock sale at 1 o'clock down in the racetrack. Those guys will slick out an area, and then they're going to hook up some tractors, Zeb, that well, they're a little older than you and I, and they still run, and them guys put them to the test, and you can sit there and watch. It's a pretty good time. They've got a sled hooked up to them, and they get measured on the distance that they can pull. It's a really good time. It's a great group of guys that put that on every year for us.
And then also Saturday morning at 9 o'clock sharp, you're going to have your 4-H and FFA buyers livestock auction. And this is really important to support all the kids that are supporting the various livestock projects.
Yeah, Zeb, these kids work work on these animals all year long, and we've had huge community support come out and help these kids. I just want to thank the businesses that have come in the past. I mean, they're the ones that really help these kids out, and I know the kids appreciate it. We'd like to invite any new businesses that would like to come at 9 o'clock, get signed up, get a bidder's number, and then we're going to feed you a free pulled pork lunch. And the kids will deliver that right to you under the pavilion, nice and shady. It's going to be a good time, Zeb.
You know, one thing we've neglected to mention was that on Friday night at the open rodeo, it's going to be called the Wear Purple Night for the Minnecasia Women's Shelter. Tell us a little bit more information about that.
Yeah, Zeb, I'm glad you said that. So we always do the, I'm sure everybody's heard of the Tougher Than Pink or whatever it is, but this is a deal that the group of people put on for us, and it goes to help the battered women's shelter, helps those people, and they do a great job. We love supporting them. And come out. They'll have a booth set up usually there. You can buy some purple stuff and enjoy the night. So, yeah, it's there. It's a great, great cause.
You know, Greg, I don't want to overlook anything. Anything else you want to highlight?
Oh, man, Deb, I mean, I'm just going through this list right now, and there's so much stuff. It'd take your whole show to go through all the things that happen at the Minidoka County Fair. But like I said, it's just a good time. Bring your kids, your family, your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa. Come on out. There's always something going on. You can sit down. There's plenty of places to sit, have some ice cream, eat a hamburger, sit in the shade, visit with a neighbor. We've got the antique building, the open class building. We've got the 4-H building. We've got the merchant building. Kids will be there with their animals. They'll start showing up tonight, tomorrow morning. They'll get judged throughout the week. Deb, I can go on all day if you want, but I'm sure you got a time crunch here.
Well, you know, Greg, I guess to sum up, I can hear the enthusiasm in your voice and all the great people over at the Minidoka County Fair. This is really a fair with a personality, isn't it?
It is. It is. You know, I mean, it's just a great, great time. Tons of good people from all over the area come in, putting together a great place for people to go and enjoy themselves.
You know, Greg Walden, I thank you very much for taking the time to come on our program and talking about the 71st Annual Minidoka County Fair with the theme this year, Making Tracks to the Minidoka County Fair. Greg, you did a heck of a good job. God bless you, man. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Deb. Have a great day.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. You know, those folks over there, they really put together a fun-filled fair for you and your family. And I urge you to get over there and be a part of it starting tonight, of course, with the lawnmower races and going all the way through Saturday. Don't miss a minute of it at your Minidoka County Fair. Want to remind you, too, as I get my little page over here, that we want to talk to you a little bit about our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Woo! I tell you, they do a job for you. They want you to leave here, go to your vacation destination, turn around, come back safely. Absolutely. And they offer a free pre-trip safety check. They'll check your tires, including air pressure, wheel alignment for tire wear, front-end components, shocks and struts, battery, including a load test, brake components. Like I said, they want you to drive safely. And along with that, they've got all the tires, all the sizes, all the tread designs for you. Your car, your pickup, your SUV, horse trailer, boat trailer, whatever it might be. Some of which you can get an instant rebate on, like the Backcountry MT, the Backcountry AT, or the Road Control tires. You stop in at any one of the 7 locations and check out the great tire buys, the best in brake service, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The very, very best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Wow. I've enjoyed the program this morning. Thank you very much for all your calls. And we didn't get a winner we did. We gave the cookies to Del Anderson on the 3 Western Cowboy stars that wore twin pistols. And we're doing a little bit more research on that because I still question about the Cisco Kid, but we'll find out more. Anyhow, Tomorrow morning on the program, don't forget our wonderful old buddy, old is the key word, Dr. History will be here in the studio. And we've got Dan Kish with the American Energy Alliance, former Congressman Tom Tancredo is going to be here talking about the border situation. We've got a lot of home run hitters tomorrow morning on Zeb at the Ranch. We end the program by always saying the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys. But we really say in all seriousness our national motto, in God we trust. Zeb at the Ranch, be back tomorrow morning at 8:06. You have a great day.